Jesus. We're recording, but I'm going to shave it until we
Okay,
call it to order. So just FYI, Josh is sick today, so I had to scramble and get this together. I hope all of our applicants received the new address. So I went through and writing each one and sending them the update. So
I can send mine to Heidi too, just to make sure.
okay, I sent it to Heidi too.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah, just do it just in case. Is there a difference in email domain between you and Heidi? Or like,
No, we're both ghhwa.org.
okay.
Does she bounce back?
She did once, but then not since then. So I just wanted to check and make sure. Yeah, she did.
Huh. Okay, so she's getting it from me. That's interesting though. Market manager at ghhwa.org.
Oh, I think I have one of them for you is GHDWA.
Nope, ghhwa.
Chrissy, well, you're on the Zoom, so.
I got it. Yeah, I got one.
Yeah, send it to Heidi just in case that didn't pop through.
Okay, yeah, she got it. From me, she got it.
Okay, great. Hi, Sue.
Hi, I'm just finishing a call, but I'm here. Good.
Okay, no worries. We're not starting yet.
Okay, I'll put you on mute.
Mary, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. It's Sawyer's first birthday today.
No, a year. Oh my gosh.
We had the market opening this morning, so that went well.
Saw the videos.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And they're
So
also
there are places to sit, right? Inside.
Oh yeah. Do you remember where the seating was when it was QFC? It wasn't pretty then, but now it's pretty.
So there was a lofty area upstairs. Is that still
that's
there?
right. Yeah, the lofty area is still there, but now it's open air. And it's very pretty. So here we go. It's here. Thank you all for keeping an eye on your email. I'm so sorry about the change of Zoom. I felt like a Mission Impossible trying to figure out how to get into. Oh, I think I admitted Leslie. Hi, Leslie. I'm gonna put you on stop video just for a moment. We'll start the meeting and then we'll bring you in one by one.
Perfect, thanks.
Yeah, so yeah, Met Market's beautiful. We're very, very glad to have them here in the harbor. They're also very passionate about what they're doing. And I'm not sure if any of you have tried this yet, but Harbor Cakes is amazing. They're a local company that they do beautiful cakes.
So I saw this morning on Facebook that Woodland Sunrise is also featured at Met Market, the little bakery that used to be downtown.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Laura, I have a question real quick before we get started. So the people who will be joining the people who have applied, will they be with us the whole time? Will they listen to the entire time,
Well, it's a public meeting, so they can.
Right.
But I've just kind of tried to give everybody a 5-minute slot and let everybody make their presentation.
Okay.
I will most likely, I know Julie and Leslie, I'm sorry, I accidentally admitted you to the room.
Do you want me to mute or get out?
Sure, or I mean, you can stay on. It's okay, and I'll just pop you in when you're presenting. But yeah, that's how we'll do it. We'll just go in 5-minute blips. We've got a lot to get through. I'm terribly sorry for the change of Zoom invite. There was no way to get into Josh's Zoom to host it. So I'd previously sent out an invitation to each one of our applicants with their 5-minute invite. I've sent them all out the new Zoom link this morning, but I'm hoping they all get it. So we'll just keep an eye on it and progress forward as we can. How's it going out there in the world today?
The mayor will join us shortly.
Wonderful.
Sue, you're muted.
Is Warren off now? He's been replaced or?
Not yet, actually.
So he should be joining or he shouldn't be joining?
He should be, as far as I'm concerned,
Right.
unless he didn't see the email from Laura saying, we have a new link.
Okay, I just didn't know since he's no longer the director, right? They hire someone new, so I wasn't sure where he was at.
Yeah, Miriam got promoted,
Yeah.
which we're all very excited about. She's great.
Yep.
Okay.
Can we look at the minutes from last meeting or do we have to wait for everybody?
I'm just waiting to make sure that we have the mayor who's going to join in a moment, and then I think we need. Wait, we've got 1, 2, 3. I know
Stephanie?
John Moist is just messaged me, so well, there's Janae right there. Oh, Janae, it's like you just appeared out of the ether
Yeah,
in your Zoom background. It was
I saw your
beautiful.
Zoom background, then all of a sudden, boom, there you are.
I was keeping you all on your toes.
Well done.
Quite a way to make an entry. Wonderful. I think we're waiting on the mayor, and then we'll call to order, and then we'll just do a short review and approval of the September minutes, and then we'll hop right into it at 11:05 with our first applicant. Joyce Schultz. I'm glad everyone was able to take a look at those applications. This is a real banner year. We've got a ton of applications this year, so we'll try to keep it straight and to the point. Okay.
Laura, do you have a methodology for how we're going to decide? Because last time when we did it, we went through one by one and came up with an amount, but then at the end, we had to go back and adjust because we didn't know. Do you have a spreadsheet ready to go that says?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, good.
Yep,
All
I
right,
do.
'cause I do if you don't. Okay, all right,
I've never met an Excel spreadsheet I didn't love.
right. Me too.
Yeah,
Okay, thanks.
and we may have, Stephanie is having a little trouble logging in, but we'll be there. Okay. All right. Perfect. So we're just waiting on the mayor, and then we'll call to order.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a big day. We've had a lot happening.
Yes, Met Market opened today. And
Laura, what type of initial feedback are you getting from the website?
Was
Oh, from
anybody at
our-
the opening? Was it really crowded?
yes,
Was it?
very crowded.
Okay. Huh.
Yeah.
It's the only time I've looked around and seen people dressed up for the opening of a grocery store. And frankly, I'm in that age range and I couldn't be happier about it.
I got there about 8:15. There was already about 20 people standing in line to get in, and it didn't open the doors until 9 o'clock. By the time we rolled around to 9 o'clock, there was probably at least 100, 150 people in line waiting to get in.
Pretty cool. It's great to see that parking lot full again. It's great to see that building in operation again.
Absolutely.
The only thing I'm not looking forward to is the people turning left from Metropolitan Market. And I wish the city would do something about putting a light. I mean, there's going to be lots of accidents. And I mean, it's just a really frustrating place. And
I don't even use
I have
that
to go down that
entrance.
way a lot to get anywhere, you know, like Safeway or anywhere else. And it's just, I just hate it. Hate it. But
We have talked about that a little bit. And
have you? Yeah.
we'll be doing a little bit more talking before we're done.
Yeah. Well, if you take public input, let me know, because I've got a lot of input on it.
And we have
So will
looked
my
at
husband.
possibility of making that a right in, right out only, and putting some
Yeah.
C curbing
Right.
in the middle of the street to keep people from going left or turning in left from
Yeah.
when you're coming off of 16.
Yeah, I
Actually-
think that would really help a lot. And because people will turn left, you know, the one that the exit that's closer to the service station, people will even turn left from that spot.
Mhm.
And that's really dangerous. So, yeah, that'd be great. If I think a right in and right out only would be good.
Hey, that's where that stop sign used to be that said, can't stop loving you. Maybe we just turn it to be like, stop making left-hand turns. Fun graffiti, responsible graffiti. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna go check in on the mayor real quick and I'll be right back.
Okay, well, I was about to do that, but you may.
So is the grocery store pretty all that it was supposed to be?
I think it's more.
Excellent.
Have you ever been to the one in the Proctor District?
Love it.
It's bigger than that.
Wow.
Probably 20% bigger, if not more. It has high ceilings and a lot of natural light coming in. They do not have a self-service salad bar or things like that. They have an area that is staffed for all those sort of things.
To show you these beautiful things. So this is a Harbor Cakes cupcake.
Mhm.
It's gorgeous. I mean, over the top.
That's awesome.
They're just so cool. I'm so interested in how they source local providers too.
Yeah,
The mayor's on the
they
phone and
also
we'll be
have Harbor Roasters coffee. They were there giving out free samples of coffee, which is near and dear to my heart. So I tasted what they have. It's good, and I will be buying more.
Wee bit concerned about calling to order. We're at 11:09.
What did the mayor say?
He's on the phone. And he'll be there in just a moment.
Stephanie, did she get the new Zoom link?
See, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 attendees. We do have a quorum. Shall we call to order and have the mayor join us?
Might as well.
Okay.
Yep.
So
We're on time, yeah.
time is 11:10. And we have a roll call. So we have with us from the city, Tourism and Communications Director Laura Pettit, Interim City Administrator Tony Piasecki. I'll go ahead and just say here when I call your name, Mary Damaris,
Here?
Sue Brayton,
Here,
Jenny Wellman,
Here.
Nate Matan,
Here,
James Kara.
Here.
We have John Moist, Warren Zimmerman, and Stephanie Lyle, who are not with us currently, but Stephanie will be joining momentarily. We also have our chair, the mayor, joining us shortly. First order of business, we've got a packed agenda, is the review and approval of September minutes. I've sent those out. Do we have any comments, concerns? None?
I move
Wonderful.
to accept the minutes.
I'll second.
Thank you, Sue. Thank you, Janae. All right, and we're into going into our 2022 grant applications. I did want to just go quickly through a brief description of the role of the advisory board from MRSC. And this just outlines that a volunteer citizen advisory board is an integral part of local government. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry, Jenny.
Laura, I just got a text from Stephanie. She said the host has to let her in.
I don't see her here yet, though.
I wonder if she's on the other one.
It might be on the
Probably.
other link.
Let me see.
Tell her to check her email and there should be the new link there and I'll let her in. I'm going to keep going just so we're on track. And John also cannot log into the meeting. Okay, hold on. Update. All right. Let me get there. All right. Thank you everyone for your patience with this new Zoom.
Did you get on? Okay. Okay, but you went on to the new link she just sent recently. Okay. Okay, I'll tell her that. Okay, thanks. Okay, bye. Hey, Laura. Stephanie says she may say Robin Harrison instead of
Oh.
Stephanie. That's
Yes, thank
her.
you.
Yeah.
Oh, shoot. I clicked.
I apologize for that.
All right, Mark and Leslie, you'll be presenting shortly. I have accidentally clicked both of you in. Robin Harrison is Stephanie Lyle. Stephanie, if you can give us a video or a verbal confirmation.
Yeah. I'm here. I'm changing my name. I'll be right there. Sorry about that. I usually it lets me put my own name in there, but not to worry.
Okay. Well, thank you. I can change that for you as well.
good.
Welcome. All right. So we're just including that we have Stephanie Lyle present as well. Stephanie, we're going through just a quick update. We've already approved the September minutes. Going through a quick update on what the role is of an advisory committee. Just going back through the MRSC definition. Volunteer Citizen Advisory Board is an integral part of local government. It's a way to engage citizens in the democratic process. Their primary purpose is to provide judicious advice from a citizen perspective, including the study of issues like these, the best purposes of the grant applications, and prepare our advisory body to discuss, analyze, formulate, and forward well-developed, thoughtful connections to the legislative body, which is in this case, the department. Wonderful. With that in mind, we will go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and introduce Joyce Schultz. She is our first presenter.
And just
From
for the record, Mayor Kuhn's here.
Mayor Kuhn, thank you so much. We have, I believe, almost everybody here. Hi, Joyce.
Hi, how are you?
We're well, thank you. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. I know we're a little behind. We have the advisory committee here reviewing applications. Thank you so much for your full and complete application for Shamrock and in the Harbor. New event this year. Tell us a little bit, and I'm going to go ahead and just start off because we have a short window with a short description and then open it up to LTAC for questions.
So the event is for March. Actually, the date in this application said March 9th. It's Saturday, March 19th. Sorry about that. But it is a new, it's called Shamrock in the Harbor, and it's a family-friendly event that will, it will be from youth to infinity. And we're hoping that, we'll have families and youth and even seniors strolling along. And it is to support the Gig Harbor Senior Center. This will be, our strategic plan has been to start some fundraising events, and this is one of our major ones that we're going to do, and it will encompass the partnership with the city, and it's going to be great. And you can dress up like a leprechaun.
Wonderful.
So we're looking for marketing dollars and to help do that, to to expand our outreach and marketing to further than just local. We want to go north, south, east, and west into Idaho, down to Oregon, and of course, north of us, and engage whomever we can. We're going to contact running clubs and you know, try to do some really good marketing to get all those interested. It's a new venue for this seasonal type run. I know Gig Harbor has other runs, but this is a kind of a St. Patrick's Day themed run.
Absolutely. And you're asking for a total of $1,500, correct?
Yes, and that will be all for marketing.
Any questions from our LTAC members?
It's okay if it is, but is this used as a fundraiser?
It is a fundraiser, yes.
Okay, and have you done this in other years?
No, this is the first one that we are doing.
Okay, thank you.
I do, oh, go ahead, Jenny.
Does raise a very quick question that I wanted to ask. So I think we've done this in the past, but can LTAC funds be used to support fundraisers for nonprofits?
If it is also a tourism event, if it's something that brings people in, the end purpose of the ticket, whether it be, as you know, for profit or for nonprofit.
Okay, thank you.
Stephanie, I think you have your hand up.
Yeah, thanks. I can't get my video to work for some reason this morning, so I just will use that tool. I just have a question about where the route is for this.
That has not actually been designated yet. We're going to be working with other people who have done runs and also with the city to see an appropriate route. So it has not been laid out yet.
Okay, thank you.
I do want to mention, I do like that you're not asking for the total price. We do like to partnership to where, you know, if it's not going to happen if the city doesn't give it all. That's kind of we don't like to be put in that position. So I like that it's 21%. So I think that's and I'd like the dollar amount too. So I think it's great.
And that doesn't even cover the entire marketing. So we were trying to be respectful of other people's requests also.
Great.
Joyce, do you know what your total budget would be?
It will be, let me turn my pages here.
I think it's 7190 or something.
Yeah, it's a little bit over $7,000.
Also, I just want every applicant to know that this is reimbursable, because a lot of times people always say, well, where's the money? And it's like, no, it's after receipts are turned in or costs. So I think we just need to tell everyone, because people forget that. So thank you.
It's also, okay, John Moyes cannot log in. Okay. Oops. Okay. So we will not see John today.
Can I just ask one other quick question? I was looking at Saturday. Does the city approve races on Saturday? I don't know. I know the bigger ones always have to be Sunday, but would a Saturday be something typically, Mayor or Tony?
We just work it in. Yeah, obviously it's something you're going to want to work ahead of time with us, but we still approve things on Saturday.
You do? Okay, good.
But do reach out to planning and police, because we like to do runs where there's alternative roads that have the least amount of disruption.
Okay.
Our 5 minutes are up. Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
We appreciate you taking the time to be with us today.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Up next, we have Leslie. We have the PTSD Foundation. All right. And let's see. I think we have you.
She's muted.
Yep. I've just asked to unmute. Leslie, do we have you with us?
Yeah, can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I can just see you, Laura. So I don't know if you guys can see me or not, but that's probably best. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Yeah, so, yeah, I'm here representing the Permission to Start Dreaming Foundation. As you guys know, or most of you probably know, we started 11 years ago. The original event was the Race for a Soldier in 2011. And we truly set out to see if the Gig Harbor community cared about those things that we cared about, and that was the mental health and wellness of our soldiers and our veterans. And it turned out that 1,500 people did that first year. I didn't know 15 would show up. And it has grown into now this incredible opportunity to truly serve our veterans, our law enforcement, active duty, first responders. And we offer a week-long training, if you will. It's called the Warrior Path. It's a transformative, truly a lifelong post-traumatic growth-based training program. And it begins with a 7-day on-site initiation. It's followed by 18 months of training, and it's delivered by the instructors that we just recently hired. But the whole concept of the foundation now is truly, we still offer the events, the Race for a Soldier, the prayer breakfast, the Swing for a Soldier, and then of course we just had our final event this year at the Sportsman's Club, which was the Pull for a Soldier. And I have to say, if I'm allowed to toot the horn of this organization, all 4 of these events are truly some of the best of, I think, what Gig Harbor and its citizens represent. They're high quality, they're well thought out, they're well organized and coordinated, and they draw people from outside of our little community for all the right reasons. And I think some of you have attended some of our events. I know, Sue, you certainly have. We've been really fortunate to be able to continue this important work for now going on our 12th year. So, you know, because of the pandemic and everything last year, like many other nonprofits, while we've been able to continue a lot of our events, they have been marginalized a little bit, minimized a little bit, because we also believe in helping to keep everyone safe and according to all the rules and regulations that for all of us, we've had to pivot and change and adapt. And I think we've done a really good job of that this year, actually the last 2 years, despite the challenges that COVID has thrown at us. But I can tell you that as we speak, we have 7 male veterans that are about to enter this wonderful program, the Warrior Path program. Next week, we've been able to hire, because of the work that we're doing and the fundraising and the awareness, we've been able to hire 5 local veterans that live in this area. 1 or 2 live a little bit outside of Gig Harbor, but for the most part, our program director is a business owner from this area. One of our other path guides is also a businessman from this area. So there's just been a lot of good things that have come out of these events, as well as now the program that we get to deliver. And for some of you may not know this, but around 18 months ago, we were approached by the Gary Sinise Foundation, along with the Avalon Fund, which is the Home Depot founders, Arthur Blanc, and shoot, I'm blanking on his name, Bernie Marcus. They each put in $20 million into the pot, 60 million, to help create a network of mental health and wellness programs. This specifically is the Warrior Path. Path meaning progressive and alternative transformation and healing for our heroes. We were approached by this wonderful network of leaders in this space to give us help in delivering the program to the area. So we accepted, but it was a month before COVID hit. So with that, we accepted. We knew we had to pull up our big girl and big boy pants, and we ended up signing a lease with John Hodge for a beautiful office down here. We'd never had an office. All these years I've been meeting at coffee shops and the Wesleyan. So we made that commitment, and then we had to make some other commitments so that we could grow, not knowing what was going to happen with COVID. So anyway, I'm really proud of the work that we've done in this short order. I think that we bring tremendous value and attention, good attention to this beautiful city that we live in. And next year, the race, by the way, we're trying to schedule it for 9/11, which I believe we'll be able to grow this race in a very intentional way, just based on the date and how we can honor those people that serve and protect our country. And I don't know if you have any questions, but maybe I've gone on a little more than my 5 minutes. And if I have, I apologize, Laura.
It's okay. I think we're open to questions right now, and then we'll just have to keep an eye on our time.
One question, your 25% growth, is that based on prior to COVID or during COVID?
During COVID.
Okay, thank you.
We've been really intentional about providing the programs and trying to continue with the events as best we can.
Right. Any questions for anyone else?
I have a question.
Oh, go ahead.
So I wanted to just clarify that the funding request is for all of the events, the pole, the race, and the swing, and that the number served cumulatively that's on the application, 4,800, is a cumulative number for all of those events.
Right, and primarily for the race and the Sportsman's Club that we hold here in Gig Harbor. The Swing for a Soldier is held in Bremerton, and that is pretty much self-sufficient. They do a great job out here, but operations for the race, for the prayer breakfast, and for the Pull for a Soldier and marketing dollars that are needed. So that's,
okay.
Does that answer your question?
Yes, but I have a follow on to that, and that is the budget number that was submitted is basically 2% of your annual budget, not your event budget. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, thank you very much.
But I do see that the Race for Soldier is, is way up there in cost too.
Yeah, it is very expensive to put on a race of that size. There's so many details of the race, and we first and foremost want to make sure that it's safe as well as fun. But it's a very expensive race, and we did it this year actually without paying. We only paid for one race director. The rest were all volunteers. But we understand that we truly need to have a race team that we can pay for. So there's going to be some operating costs that are going to be a little bit more expensive, especially as we have this opportunity on 9/11 to really expand the race and the awareness. So I don't know if that answers the question very well, but I'm happy to follow up on anything with you if you have a question that I can't answer today to be more clear.
That was perfect, and it shows on your sheets too.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I just like to say that we do, the events, except for the swing, maybe we get a few rooms, but do get quite a few room nights every year from each event. So it's been a good thing for our business. So thank you for generating the, overnight stays.
Well, it's our privilege to be able to offer that as a safe haven for everyone, and to a person that comes out of town, as our speakers have from Florida and Kansas, all over the place. The one thing that they know when they walk in to the Wesleyan, that they feel it's very hospitable and just a place where they want to be and rest and get ready for the weekend's events, because it truly is not just one day or one event. We consider it the Permission to Start Dreaming Foundation weekend hosted in Gig Harbor. And we would love to be able to expand all the good things that come from bringing people into the city, along with our wonderful businesses along downtown and all that. So we want to find ways to be able to spread that.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Leslie, thank you so much.
You're
I think we
welcome,
have
Laura. Thank you.
to the end of their time.
Yep.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
And we're gonna have, good, thank you. We're gonna have to keep to that, or we're gonna shorten the people at the end.
Yep. I am trying to get as fast as we can here. So Julianne Gustancy up next from the Greater Gig Harbor Foundation, speaking on behalf of the Cider Swig. Hi, Julie. I'm going to also admit Ariel. from the
Hello.
Greater-
Hi.
Hi, Julie. Hi, we've
All
got you
right.
and Ariel here with us. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Yes, it's still morning.
Wonderful. So we're going to do just a very short introduction, and then we're going to try to keep it to our 5-minute window, and LTAC will open up for questions right after that.
Okay. So is it a 5-minute window? I'm sorry, the 5-minute window is in total, right?
We're going to try for it. We may go just
Okay.
slightly over, but we're going to try to keep to that. Yeah.
Okay.
So tell us a little bit about Cider Swig this past year specifically.
Well, Cider Swig this past year was, well, we did it twice, and we called one Summer Swig and we called the other one Cider Swig, which is what the event had started out as. But obviously, as with many of the events that many of you are involved in, we did a last minute flip to making it a drive-through. Totally, both were drive-through events, although we were able to have a quote-unquote bottle shop, which was a little different than last year where we didn't have that option. So we did the kit options, and we did it both in 2 days in July, 9th and 10th, and then 2 days in September, 25th and 26th. And overall, we believe it was a success because of the nature of not being a full-on festival. You know, we brought people to the community, but probably not in the same way. I know more, we had cideries coming and staying overnight because they were delivering their product from Tonasket and Spokane and other places further afield. But all in all, in order to basically pull together the amount of funding that we usually are able to contribute over to the Lou Windsor Environmental Grant Program, we had to run the event twice. So it worked out, and I think that we've learned a lot, just like everyone else throughout the pandemic. We've learned how to be flexible and still do good things while operating under the various mandates or examples of the mandate. So anyway, so that's, I mean, we have yet to get our final numbers together from the total effort, but it's positive, so that's good.
So tell us about your event. Let's go forward.
Okay, so for 2022, we are planning a full event once again, and basically bringing Cider Swig back to its full, to the full event that, as it has been for the last 8 years, for the, I guess, 6 years, and then 2 years we've been operating under COVID. So we're not exactly certain, but we're trying to develop new ways to partner with community businesses in our community in order to ensure that it's not, I mean, a lot of the cider comes from around here, but not all of it. But one of the things that we've learned over the COVID period is new ways to partner. And so we're looking at how we diversify our relationships for 2022, and we'll be launching everything in January of 2022 for the new cider swig.
Great. I see that you show that about 22% come from the greater Seattle area.
Yes.
11% from other areas outlined, which means you probably do get some heads and beds.
Yes. I mean, yeah, we know that this year it probably wasn't as many as in past years or as many as we had hoped, but I believe 2022 will be a different story as the world returns to something more similar to what we were used to. Pardon?
We can't hear that
Oh, I think,
question.
sorry,
either.
that's John Moist has joined us. I'm gonna put on mute just.
I'm in a Zoom meeting right now.
He's talking to someone else.
Okay, I'm gonna put him in the Zoom on mute for just a moment there. Julie, thank you so much for that. Do we have any other questions for Julie on cider swig?
Just Julie, really quick, this is Sue. Is it going to be September or July or both again?
Well, so you might see that we actually have 2 applications. So
Okay.
we're actually, because of the success of the July event, we actually are going to do 2, but we're transitioning the name of the summer one to Summer Sips.
Okay.
And that'll be at Uptown. Yeah. And so we're working with Uptown. The date will be July 9th.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Julie. I think we're at just over 6 minutes. I think that's everything that we have, correct? Any last questions? Nope. Thank you, Julie, so
Thank
much. We
you.
appreciate you.
Thank you both.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Was that for both the applications?
No, I believe we'll be back. We have our other one too. So we'll be back down on the list momentarily to answer bigger questions on the summer step.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Up next, we have Nicole Jones from the Gig Harbor Boat Shop. I think we've got connection there. Hi, Nicole.
Good afternoon.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Wonderful. So we're going to try to stick to the 5-minute window, even though we're a little bit behind this morning. And we'll just start with a brief description of the event or of the ask, and then I'll open it up to LTAC for questions. So if you want to go ahead and give us a little bit of a description, we'll go from there. LTAC has reviewed the application. They've already read it. Tell us a little bit about what you hope to accomplish.
Great, awesome. Well, thank you everyone for entertaining our ask. The Gig Harbor Boat Shop, as you may be aware, is getting a couple of new programming things online, one of which being the railways, which will allow the boat shop to pull in boats and work on them. And then 2, the brick house is almost complete and will be able to have that open and available for community use and boat shop programming. And so to get both of those things with a really solid foundation, it's going to take some really good operational focused to make sure that we have all of our forms and process so that there's a lot of consistency for the community when they interact with both of those new programming items. So our ask is for operational funds, and that would fund somebody at $20 an hour, about 50 hours a month for 6 months that we really feel would really bolster that program. This money would help us react a little quicker. We're still obviously going to do this work. We're going to get these programs online. I know that many of you have felt kind of the surge and relaxation with let's get ready for all these events, and then they get canceled. And so we're really feeling that at the boat shop, getting ready for several different things, gearing up for those. And so we've had to do a lot of shifting of gears, a lot of getting stuff online for the community to kind of still engage with the boat shop and what we do. And so this would just allow us to have somebody really focused on these two things while we're still adjusting to all the changes that we're experiencing on a now it seems more like week to week basis, but at times it still feels hour to hour. So that's kind of where we're at. That's the beginning of our ask. We have a couple other things that are coming online that will dovetail nicely with this. We recently submitted a grant application to help with the Northwest Fleet Documentation Center, which would be housed in the upstairs of the brick house. And so there's a lot of really exciting things that are underway, and this would just really help us kind of level up a little bit quicker.
So a question on the you just mentioned it would help you on documentation. How will that bring people to the harbor?
So the programming for people to be able to either use the service of the railways or book space, rent space in the brick house, having a really good program of how we're going to reserve those spaces, having somebody really working with the city to get that all those agreements in place as far as the maintenance and or not the maintenance, but the management agreement and all of those things, so that we have a clear understanding of how that space will be used. So it will give someone a head start to get that program right online as soon as the roundabout project is finished and all the other things that are happening with the roundabout, like the mitigation and whatnot for the shoreline impacts. And so it'll bring people to the harbor because we'll get that program online quicker and more robustly than we would be able to do if we kind of steadily chipped away at it as we had the capacity.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I think we're just coming up on time there. Are there any last questions for Nicole?
Yeah, Nicole, long-term, how does this project ultimately bring people into the harbor, aside from ramping things up quicker?
Yeah, so the brick house is going to be programmed by the boat shop about half of the year. And we will be doing things like fishtails and story time and boater safety and mission specific type programming. But then the other half of the year is available for rental by the community. And so people could come to Gig Harbor to host a small event. Also, there's only one of a few railways, especially historic railways, that are in Western Washington. And this is a really prime location. And so people come, there's a huge contingent of people who are really excited about the Thunderbird. And we've had people call from Australia who have Thunderbirds who want to come up to Anchorage, to Gig Harbor to see where it all started. And so the holistic part of the whole site with the boatyard and the railways and the brick house, it's something unique that you can't find elsewhere. And so being able to market that really well and have a really good interface is just gonna like be a really good center point and a draw for a really wide range of the community or the region.
I think that's the time we have. Thank you, Nicole, so much for the application. Incomplete, very, very well done. And we appreciate your time this morning too.
Awesome. Well, thank you all and have a lovely sunny afternoon.
Thank you. Okay, up next, we have Glenn Liebner from Crescent Valley Lavender Farm looking at their 2022 summer season. Glenn, hi, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. We know we're just a little bit behind schedule.
All right, no problem.
Wonderful.
So,
We have a shortened time, really. We're going to try to keep to that 5-minute window.
Okay.
If you could give us a brief description of the ask. The advisory committee has already seen your application and reviewed it. So just a brief description and then we'll open it up for questions.
Okay, well, basically, I'm looking for a grant to, I guess, help or assist really with labor and advertising on the farm. I feel that I last year did draw in a lot of people. I'd say approximately 40% of people were out of state, especially in the beginning of the season. So I think that there is a real need for a farm like mine. We're unique. There really isn't a farm in Gig Harbor anymore like this. There used to be, but no longer is here. I'm also looking at potentially doing Airbnb maybe in the future with this farm in conjunction with weddings. And it would only be for guests who are in the immediate family, and thus anybody else who is part of the wedding group would, I think, be able to stay in town. I could recommend local hotels. So that's something else I need help with in working out with Pierce County. I've been working with Pierce County quite a bit with the farm for the last 5 years. Everything from getting it approved to have a lavender farm on a real sensitive resource, as well as building our private bridge to accommodate customers. And also obviously the fire department, medical department. So that's kind of the brief summary of it. I'm if anything, really hoping that maybe even volunteers for the farm would really help. It's a small family business. It's just myself, my wife, and my 2 kids who are in college. It's a short period. You're looking at June through July. So it's a couple months. I think that if I wind up actually holding a wedding venues here, then I would expand that from a spring and probably until fall. Potentially, maybe even doing something with pumpkins and even a Christmas theme in the winter, if I can get that all approved through Pierce County. So maybe your resources with Pierce County and your connections with Pierce County would allow me to kind of expand that part of the business.
Wonderful. Okay, I think we're going to open it up for questions.
Laura, can you say that louder? We can't hear you.
I'm so sorry. We're going to open it up for questions.
Well, it's fun to Google your farm and you see all this farm in front with all the lavender. So that's exciting.
Oh, cool. Thank you. Yeah, it was our first year last year, or this year to open up rather, part because we had to put in the bridge, which was a 2-year project. So in the meantime, we have been working at the farmers market, and we'll probably continue to do that this upcoming year. Every Thursday, we were able to drive some of the traffic from the farmers market to our farm as U-Cut. So
I have a question, and this is Stephanie Lau. I am just curious, the application does not say that you're nonprofit. Is that correct? You're
correct. I'm nonprofit.
you are nonprofit.
I am nonprofit. Yeah.
Oh,
Did it say that in the application that I was I'm sorry. I am profit. I'm not a nonprofit company.
Right, right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And so it also said there was a festival, but no date. So is this just sort of a seasonal, but not a specific festival event date?
Yeah. So if anybody's been to Swim, with the festival that they hold out there for usually a week, we had thought about doing that as well, but because of parking limitation, I do have people actually pay for parking online, and I schedule it hourly. So we have probably approximately up to 20 cars. I could even accommodate more than that if it were to happen to be a venue. But because of that limitation, I'm trying to work around the, having a few hundred people on the property in a couple of day period would be challenging. So I think that just opening up for the entire season and promoting it and marketing it that way, I think would be better served and be able to control it and manage it with the parking limitation that I have here.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have
Anybody else?
Any other questions?
Cool. And just kind of, I had a few questions for you guys. I know that you guys are short on time. Just had a couple of questions regarding what your expectations are. First of all, and I have a significant amount of money in here for, sorry, my dog's sick. So if you hear something in the background, that's what's going on. I have like $9,600 slated for hiring people to help out on the farm. Would you be able to offer volunteers instead of maybe having a paid staff?
So right now we manage the volunteers for the Gig Harbor Visitor Center.
Yeah.
There are some really great resources throughout town for volunteering opportunities, and we may be able to help you connect with some of them, but I don't think we'd be able to manage a volunteer program for you.
Okay.
Just on a bandwidth level. But we're happy to connect you with some of those resources. And I know there are a lot of people who are very, very interested in lavender and volunteering, and maybe that would be a phenomenal way to get involved with local tourism.
Okay.
Events and opportunities.
Depending on,
go ahead.
Depending upon what this is Mayor King, depending upon what we give you, or if we do, we can try to help you with some volunteers. Yeah, I did see the 9,600, but I just figured out, it actually is 640 hours. If you took 16 hours per weekend times 8 weekends times 5 people, it's basically 640 hours, which works out at $9,600 to $15 per person.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
that's a lot of hours. So offline, I'd be happy if you need volunteers, there's ways we can try to help you out with volunteers.
Okay, yeah, that'd be great. I mean, that's the biggest challenge with having a family farm is obviously helping out with customers doing the U-Cut. I mean, we manage it pretty good as a small family group. It was more of a soft open last year. However, our traffic tended to be greater than we expected, just due to Google searches and such. So, but I think that would be the biggest help and benefit. Advertising, obviously, would also local advertising, anything I think within the vicinity of Seattle and Gig Harbor would really help.
Thank you.
And then insurance, I noticed that you guys are requiring insurance, which I do have for the farm. I have obviously insurance for any trips and falls and all that other stuff. What kind of requirements do you have for insurance? Is it insurance for, volunteers? I'm not, I kind of read it in this application, so.
I think that's you dealing with that. You figure that out. That's
okay. Well, it sounded like that there was a requirement from Gig Harbor. There would be some sort of required insurance. I mean, I don't know.
I can answer that. Sorry, Glenn. Similar to the way that you would need to hold insurance if somebody would need to hold insurance if they held an event on your lavender farm, like a wedding or something like that.
Yeah.
I think it's like a cost of like $75 for $1 million policy or something like that.
Yeah,
for a
yeah.
individual one. So it's not huge, but it is a requirement. if
Okay,
it's
so
under
is that something you look at I have an annual insurance, so it actually covers me for the entire year.
I would need to check it out. I think this is specific to an event, not that language is
Okay.
specific to an event, but
Okay,
I'll have a full answer for you.
okay, great. That sounds good. And then as far as help with Pierce County, as far as maybe a venue is concerned, wedding venues, is that something that you guys might be able to offer?
Not from us specifically, but we may be able to point you in the direction of the right resources, but we can't help that process along.
Okay.
We are over time quite a bit. Are there any last questions?
Nope, that should do it.
Okay, thank you very much. So thank you for your time, Glenn. We appreciate
Sure.
your application.
Yeah, no problem. You guys have a good one. Thank you.
All right, we're heading into our next applicant.
So we need to keep this moving along or we're not going to get through all of this.
We have Marlene Drucker from Rattle Them Bones and the Greater Gig Harbor Foundation. Marlene, can you hear us? Oh, she's connecting to audio. Here we go. Hi, Marlene.
Unmute. Hello, thank you.
Hi, Marlene. So we're going to try to keep to that 5-minute window. We're going to go as quickly as we can here. We're familiar with the event. If you could give us a very, very brief description and then we'll open it up for LTAC for questions.
Okay, well, Rattle Them Bones is a super fun for everyone bike ride and group bike ride and costume contest. We got a little something for everyone. Casual family riders can do as much or as little Cushman Trail as they want. Challenge riders will be sent off to some hills. We support our riders. We have a phone number day of. If people need help, we'll come out and rescue anybody. I'm just working on our signups for volunteers. For anyone who doesn't get enough trick-or-treaters at their house, we'll put you along the course and you can give out candy. We actually started in 2019 through a grant through the Arts Commission, because costumes are creative and we were encouraging creative costumes and creativity in a costume ride. Subsequent years, we were unable to apply for the Arts Commission grant because we are also a fundraiser. So after the first year, the Arts Commission excluded fundraisers. We are a fundraiser for the Greater Gig Harbor Foundation's Community Recreation Fund, which is basically a fund that is available to anyone who lives our service area is kind of the Peninsula School District area. So any family that applies to us and needs help paying for fees for sports and recreation or equipment costs, that's what the fund exists for.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for that description. I'm going to open it up for questions.
I have just a quick question. Do you have an actual date for this event?
Well, I'd have to check the calendar. So the first year that what we always plan for is the Sunday. So this year it works out on Halloween. So we're doing it on Halloween. In years where it is not going to be on Halloween, it will be the Sunday right before, whenever Halloween falls.
Thank you.
Wonderful. I believe is that everything that we have question wise? I know that we have a limited time. And this is a pretty straightforward event. Anything else? Marlene, thank you so much for your time and so much for your complete application. We very much appreciate you.
All right, thank you very much. Thanks for your consideration. We appreciate you.
Up next.
I'm on mute. Am I dismissed from the meeting?
Yes. Oh, you can stay if you'd like.
I can stay if I like. Okay, I'm going to mute myself and turn off my video and I will just listen.
Up next, we have Jesse Dunnigan of Dunnigan's Brewery for the Celtic Music Festival. Here we go, and we're joining. And we're joining. Okay. Hi, Jesse. Connecting to audio. Okay. All right. I think we can hear you. Hi, Jesse. Welcome.
Hello.
Thank you so much for your time today. And thank you for joining us and for the application. We're excited to hear. We are fairly short on time, so we're going to try to very much stick to that 5-minute window. If you can give us maybe a one-liner kind of description of the event.
One-liner description of the event. Oh, okay. So yeah, I'm Jesse. This is my manager, Emmett. So the event has to do with St. Patrick's Day coming up. We've been in business since 2015. Every year we put on different events, and one of the big ones is St. Patrick's Day. So we're from Tacoma and we moved over here to Gig Harbor. And so this is our permanent home. And this year we're doing some pre-planning. Laura, I've sent you a PDF of some initial information. So we're starting the groundwork for laying an event here. So it's a music festival. It's a Celtic music festival. We'll bring in people from even out of state, some performers from around the region, even East Coast. We're planning on bringing in. Our host hotel is the Inn at Gig Harbor, which is just across the street. On the other side, there's Locust Cider, which is a new brewery that'll be open by then. So we have, we're all licensed for a full bar here and family dining, and we have live music at night, and we're all currently licensed for that. And we have a stage over there, and we have another stage for outside. So we have our own parking lot with extra capacity that we don't need for our occupancy here. So we could put in vendor booths and cordon off the whole area for beer gardens or family activity areas. We're in talks with the hotel and the event center there for another stage. They have extra rooms for arts and crafts, for family activities, for indoor vendors if weather doesn't permit outdoor activities. So there's backup contingencies for that. And that's the idea. So that's what we're going to be putting together. And this grant program seems like a great city program that would make this event even more so and attract more people here to Gig Harbor. So that's a pretty good spiel. That's a one-liner.
Yes, and we also want to mention too that the Dunnigan's Brewery is you've taken the awesome space there, and I forget what the former occupant was, but right across from the Inn at Gig Harbor. So we're happy to have you in town as a eating establishment as well. So
yeah, thank you.
Open to questions. LTAC.
I guess just really quick, how many people would you anticipate? And do you have to get permitting to do that when it's your own business? And I don't know, from the city, how does that work? You are in the city, right? You are in the city.
Right. So we of course would get some permits, special event permits. If we have a mini bar over at the Inn at Gig Harbor, we'll have a banquet license. I've done that before for different beer festivals. We set that up. We have a full kitchen here, and then we have a crew that operates it. The hotel has a catering service over there. So as far as permitting, we'll have a special use permit. We have, under my microbrewery license, you get 12 of them a year for these special events. So that will be activated. And I've already got the program for that all sorted out. As far as banquet license, special use permit, and I'll work with the city like I've done in the past for any unforeseen things. But as far as parking, there's plenty of parking at the hotel. There's an overflow area there. We've talked to Enterprise Rental Car. They'll have 50 plus cars available for the attendees. So parking is good, and permitting is good. Car rental is good. There's a shuttle, the Kitsap Transporter. It comes every hour. So there's mass transit here in Gig Harbor for that. Connects the, it's 3 a.m. to 11 p.m., which is nice every hour. To the airport. Yeah,
Okay.
it runs to the airport. And yeah, so does that answer some of your questions, ma'am?
Just kind of, and numbers, what are you thinking for numbers first year? What are you thinking or hoping for, I guess, just about.
Right, so I'm projecting somewhere around 500, 600 people a day. So St. Patrick's Day lands on the 17th, which is a Thursday.
Yeah.
So we're looking to go all the way into Saturday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 17th, 18th, 19th. And then we'll have a Irish breakfast here on the Sunday morning at the very end.
Okay.
So people will stay through into the night. So we're looking for 3 days. They'll stay potentially over at the hotel. There's 65 rooms over there. They can block out 30, they told me, for the special event. They're offering discounts connected to this festival that we're going to put on, up to 20% for attendees.
That's great. Thank you. That's all. I just was kind of.
Yeah. I'm a faucet of info.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. We appreciate your time and appreciate your application.
Sure. Thank you, Laura.
All right, up next, we have the Southtown Pickleball Club. We don't have I don't know if we have somebody there from it. I'm going to click on a number and just see if that is the person that's. Hi there. We have a phone number. We want to see if this is Southtown Pickleball. Who did we just have join us?
This is Dean Freitas, if you're talking to me.
Dean, okay, I'm going to put you on mute and wait for our Sportsman's Club application. We have, I believe, 1 or 2 people in front of you, and we'll be right back. I do not believe we have anyone from the Southtown Pickleball Club. So we're going to move forward. We have the Harbor History Museum Operations and Exhibits application for exhibits in 2022. Stephanie, are you speaking on behalf of the museum?
I am today, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I know that everyone has seen the application. I think it's fairly straightforward, but I will just do a quick recap of what we are anticipating for 2022 in terms of exhibitions. This is primarily an operating funds grant request with a specific intention to fund some of our exhibitions, our special exhibitions that would be coming in this year, because those do draw people from outside of the area, and they are promoted outside of the area. So we are looking at a variety of different exhibitions. Sorry about that, that's the phone. One of which is called Little Boats, which is a featured exhibit that talks about all kinds of different little boats that have been made or used or been popularized in Gig Harbor proper. That also includes some toy boats that have been made and used here in our local area. We are also producing a show called I Spy, the Secret Museum, and this is actually a really great featured exhibit for families that is building off of the I Spy books that are so popular. But what we're doing is we're actually photographing some really unusual and interesting objects in the collection that people don't usually see. And then we're inviting some community members in to respond to those, to pick an item from that collection and talk about why it's special to them and what it means for our local area. So these, it'll be a very interactive exhibit, but also very kind of community engaging exhibit. So though that's just sort of a very quick update on a couple of the main featured exhibitions, and I am happy to take whatever question. Oh, the other one I wanted to add was the practical agriculture, which will be a lobby exhibit, but that is based on a very old school chart that was found in the Midway School, and that talks a lot about our agricultural history here in the local area, but predominantly features that particular school chart that was used for many, many years. So if anyone has any questions, I'm happy to answer those. We do see more than half of our visitation comes from outside of the Gig Harbor Key Peninsula area. So we are serving a really wide range of folks in the Northwest as well as beyond. And I think last year, even though it was COVID, I think we saw somewhere in the ballpark of about 36 different states represented by travelers to the area.
Go ahead, Sue.
Right, sorry, just really quick, when will you be open more?
Oh, well, that
These
all
days,
depends.
I'm like my guests, I go, oh, not open today, not, you know, it's, so when will you be open more, do you think?
Well, it all depends on funding for next year, quite honestly, Sue. We are at maximum capacity right now in terms of what we can cover for open hours. We are actually open, just so folks know, we are open on Wednesdays, even though it's a public closed day. We are using Wednesdays for special groups because there's still a very high concern about COVID. So groups can have the building to themselves that day if that is a concern. We're offering that to schools as well. So technically we're open 4 days, but our public days are 3 days right now. If our funding is secured and we are able to open more, we will add another day for sure to the schedule. And we're also going back and looking through 2019 to see which days are the most prominent. And quite honestly, our numbers are not down. It may be fewer days per week, but the numbers served per day are actually higher.
The question, when you say you're open based upon your funding, the city gives you $30,000 a year for not a minute to make it free, which is to make it so that you can be open. And we did do that we have been. So I'm confused. I thought that funding was for that.
That funding pays for approximately 5,000 people's admission. So we count by the numbers of people served, not necessarily the days that we are open, because it's a very cost-effective method to serve more people per day than spread it out over the week. Then we start losing money. So it's something to look at very closely, and it's complicated, the equation, but that's not to be open 6 days a week. That's to serve 5,000 people.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Stephanie. We appreciate your time, and thank you for keeping it just at the 5-minute mark. Beautifully done. 4:56:47. All right. Up next, we have the Gig Harbor Sportsman's Club. I'm going to go ahead and let Terry Holm in, and I believe we have Dean on the line as well. Asked to unmute. Hi, Terry, and Dean, I believe we have you as well for the Gig Harbor Sportsman's Club. Yes. Hello there. Hi. Thank you so much for joining us. We're going to try to keep this as close as possible to our 5-minute window. We are going to do a very quick one-line kind of explanation of the event. All of the members have read your application already and are familiar. So just quick intro, and then we'll open it up for questions.
Very good. I'm the new president for Gig Harbor Sportsman's Club. Dean is our grants manager, so he's managing the data collection and such. This particular event is what's referred to as the Fall Classic with the PITA organization. That's the Pacific International Trap Shooters Association. And they are doing this event across multiple states: Alaska, 2 in California, 1 in Idaho, Nevada, a couple in Oregon, and ourselves. We had the highest participation of all members. People just like coming to the Gig Harbor Sportsman's Club and being in the area and participating here. So we've done this event for a number of years. We've tried to encourage people to come in and enjoy the area and have a good time at a sport that they like to do.
Wonderful. LTAC, I'm going to open it up for questions. Any questions from the gallery here?
I guess, are you fully open now?
Yes, we are. We are complying with the local and state mandates for things like mask and distancing and things like that. But yes, we are functional for the shooting sports, archery, and training.
Thank you.
I've been to shoot some arrows. It's pretty fun if anyone hasn't been.
Yeah, we get kids' birthday parties and people that don't know how. We have equipment for that and people to help instruct you, and a good time usually.
I'm in the second category, people who don't know how. Thank you very much. I think that's all. Do we have any other questions? I know Sue and Jenny, we've just gotten you back. Anything else that we have on the shoot? Nope. Wonderful. Terry, Dean, thank you so much for your time today. We really appreciate it.
All right, thank you very much for considering us and giving us the time to explain your questions. Thanks, have a good day.
Well, we're making up a little time, so that's good.
Doing what I can. All right, up next we have the Gallop and Gertie half marathon. We have Bob Anderson answering questions on behalf of that. I'm going to admit Bob.
No problem.
Hi, Bob. Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you so much for your patience as we change venues.
That's okay.
You're here to give us a kind of a brief one-liner description of the marathon. LTAC has read your application, so they're familiar with the event, and I'd like to just go ahead and have you give a one-liner of an update on the event, and then open it up for questions.
The event, Galloping Gertie half marathon, 10K and 5K has been happening now for 11 years. So it's an established run with a following both across the country and locally. We had a difficult time during the pandemic. We had to go with a virtual run, but still dipped into our funds to send money to those children's charities where all the profits go. What we have never done is advertise. And the difference that we think we can make with a major push on advertising that's found in this budget will draw in more people, we think, from Canada and surrounding states, and that's our objective. We also have never had a pre-event that brings people in the night before, and we're going to explore ways to do that.
I see in 2019, you had 95 came in from out of state or out of country.
Yes.
Great.
And we think, especially if we're advertising in on Vancouver Island with our Rotary members there, we can attract many more from out of country.
And Bob, hi, it's Sue. Would you, it's always August, would you ever look at a different date?
August has been the traditional date where the runs happen. It's been happening then for 12 years, and I kind of hate to upset that.
Yeah, I just don't, I know it's such a busy time. I don't know that we've ever had rooms from the run. So, I mean, they're probably staying somewhere, but to my knowledge, we haven't. So I was just curious about that. Okay, thank you.
Sure.
I have a question. So your, if I'm reading this right, your ask is $20,000, and that is particularly for advertising. Is that only advertising, or is it also event expenses?
Well, it will help cover event expenses as well as advertising. It's goes into the entire budget, but it covers all of those things. We're a completely volunteer Rotary club, but we do hire a person from outside to manage the event.
Okay.
I have a question, Bob, and maybe this was in your application, but what is your overall budget for this event?
Well, it has varied. I included both 2019 and 2022 budget, where with your support, we would have a overall budget of $84,000.
I'm wondering what the expenses are, is what I'm asking. I'm sorry, Bob.
Those
It
were
shows
also
on the application.
I must have just missed it. Okay, thank you.
And so your race
Can you just
management,
answer that real quick, though?
sure, is it $10,000 you pay that agency, it seems like?
Yes.
Okay.
And our total expenses are $55,000. So as I said, all profits go to Children's Home Society, Food Backpack for Kids, Communities in Schools Peninsula, and Opal House in Guatemala.
I think that's all of our questions, yes?
Thank you, Bob.
Wonderful. Thank you
Sounds
so much,
good.
Bob. We appreciate the application and the time that you put into it and joining us here this morning.
Well, we hope 12 years has been worth our effort. I'm sure
Definitely.
those children's charities have appreciated it. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, up next we have Harbor Wild Watch. Lindsay Stover is joining us to talk about both Chum Fest and operations of the Scansey Visitor Center. Hi, Lindsay. Can you hear us? Oh, there she
Yes,
is.
I can.
Hi.
Hi there.
Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for the change of Zoom venue and being here to answer questions. We're going to try to keep to that 5-minute window as best we can. We have 2 events here, so essentially a 10-minute window, but we'll try to get through those. So if you can, we're going to go one by one. Let's talk about Chum Fest first. Can you give us a one-liner update? LTAC has already reviewed your application, so they're familiar. But just maybe a one-line quick update, and then we'll open it up for questions for Chum Fest.
Okay, great. Yeah. So Chum Fest, we took over Harbor Wild Watch, the coordination of it about 6 years ago, and it's kind of changed and evolved over those 6 years. It used to be in September when we first took it over, because that was a better time of year for weather, but that didn't make much sense because salmon weren't spawning at that time. So we moved it to December. We started a really great relationship with the museum where we had part of it indoors. So in case there was weather issues, we could make that. And then we also added a number of elements over the past few years, like our guided salmon tours, a camera in the creek so you can actually see the salmon spawning, expanded on the canoe races and added the dragon boat. And then in 2019, we added an art exhibition. So we've changed it a bit over the years, but with these last 2 years not having it because of COVID, we thought it was a perfect opportunity to kind of revamp the way that Chum Festival is delivered so that we can capitalize on the people throughout this country who visit this part of our country specifically to see salmon spawning and to be here for when the orcas are here and everything that comes along with salmon. So change it to a 2-day festival that can take advantage. It's more suited for that group of individuals, and also, have more people coming in from out of town that can stay, during the shoulder season.
Wonderful. Any other questions?
So one thing I have to, during COVID, just seeing you've managed to figure out how to stay open or do your events. So, because I watch our nonprofits and I see how much people are open and they have to reinvent the wheel. So you've figured out how to still bring people in during that. So I just want to let you know that.
Thank you. Yeah, we've tried really hard with transitioning to our virtual programs, and we feel that now whatever the world throws our ways, we're ready for it, whether it be in person, virtual, or hybrid, or anything in between.
Got it.
So I know it's somewhere in here. What's the date?
So it's typically the 3rd weekend in November.
Right.
And that is because that's when really the salmon are we've been tracking it for the past 10 years, and that is typically when the salmon return.
Right. Rain dependent, which we need. Thank you.
We do.
Thank you.
I think we're set on questions for Chum Fest. Yeah. Shall we move on to operations at the visitor center? Let's do a one line review of how the past year has gone, and then we'll move into any questions.
Yeah, obviously, so we were closed for most of 2020 and part of 2021. And we were excited to reopen in mid-July. That came with training new and existing volunteers, kind of revamping the center a little bit, getting things back in order. And we also took on a lot of the responsibilities that kind of the city had previously done. And that was something that Laura and I worked with, and it just made sense to do it that way. And so we, in the first month that we reopened, we had over 1,000 people come through our doors, which was just wonderful, right back at the level that we were pre-pandemic. And we saw that trend continue into August. There was a bit of a drop off in September, which is normal. And then of course, October, we've seen a drop off, to go along with the tourism season, but we're still having a steady number of visitors come in. We are seeing some challenges with volunteers right now. The majority of our volunteers are older and in that high risk group, and some of them are just not comfortable. They were at the beginning when we first opened, but then Delta kind of, took over. And so we've lost a number of those. They're going to come back when things get better. But so Harbor Wild Watch has been relying more on our staff and our volunteers to help fill those gaps. And so definitely that's why the increase in the funds, because we have taken a more central role to the management of the actual volunteers in the visitor center, along with the interpretive exhibits.
So Lindsay, you're doing all the volunteers now for the visitor center. Is that correct? Yeah, you're managing.
Correct.
And you're open how many days? Curious.
So we just switched to, so through our contract, it's April through September is Wednesday through Sunday. And then it's typically Thursday through Saturday for October through March. But we have, to kind of make up for the time that we've lost, we're still open on Wednesdays right now. So it's Wednesday through Saturday. That way we can, make up for some of that time that was lost at the beginning of the year. And the volunteers are technically, city volunteers as well as Harbor Wild Watch volunteers, but I'm just doing more of the day-to-day management, the recruitment, the training, and then of course I work closely with Laura in all of that.
Yep, thank you.
Yes, thank you. We appreciate that. Anything else that we have from LTAC for Lindsay on either operations center of the visitor center or for Chum Fest? I think that's it. Thank you so much for the efforts over the past year with getting volunteers in. We know it's been a real struggle. We thank you for your effort and applications and for sharing your time with us here today.
Great. Thank you so much. Lovely to see you all. Bye.
All right. Up next, we have the Asian Pacific Cultural Center, and I want to make sure we have somebody here on the Zoom. I do not see anyone there. We may move to the next applicant. And I believe we have Mark Coppin for the Gig Harbor Art Center and the Sister Cities / Heritage Day. Hi, Mark.
Hi. Hey, Sue's going to recognize this sweater because remember the Scandinavian Festival? I bought this sweater and it's the first time I've ever worn it. I finally have a reason. I also have a room full of Scandinavian art that's really cool. And what's more is it spawned an interest in me to do even more. And I have some rather exotic Scandinavian art from the early part of the century in my house.
Yes. My gosh, that's funny.
This idea for a heritage festival extends from things like that. It's connected to a sister cities effort that Kit's involved in that's emergent. And it seems to be progressing rather rapidly with Buda, Norway, and somewhere on the island of Brock. This idea is to have a fall festival that fits into the school schedule that celebrates multiple cultures, including the Scandinavian culture, Croatian, Native American, probably the Puyallup Nation mostly, Korean and Japanese culture, all of which have area interests that can help foster a multi-venue festival on one particular day in the Gig Harbor area. The reason for multi-venue is it has less transportation consequences. It has more opportunity to have small but significant venues that are low intensity. Sue, you'll recall the Scandinavian Festival was very high intensity. It was so successful that there were just vast numbers of people there. I never knew there were so many Scandinavians. I never even knew I was one until after that. I thought I was German. I took Ancestry.com and I figured out that I'm actually mostly Scandinavian, both Swedish and Norway. So hopefully the Gig Harbor Arts Center Alliance meets the criteria for this grant in two respects that I've noticed at least 4 organizations that have spoken previously did not. One, we're 501c3, we're not lodging, and we are front funded enough, Kit, to actually be able to handle this. I've noticed some of the applicants already don't even know what that means. So I think you've got a problem because you've had 4 applicants so far who are definitively not eligible.
So I think it's best to stick to promoting your event and not others. You know, why? So let's, in a short window, we'd rather hear your event.
Yeah, well, this event is simply going to provide a multi-venue opportunity for multiple cultures in the Gig Harbor Peninsula to present themselves and pull in people from an obviously marketable set of potential visitors. We know Scandinavians are, the Gallop Nation, we'll see how that goes, but they seem to have an emergent relationship with Gig Harbor. The Croatian community is mostly local in Tacoma and Gig Harbor, although there are some Seattle Croatian folk that may come to put heads in beds. The Korean community has already expressed an interest in this, and of course they're interested in I've never seen an application like the one that preceded me. They're interested in getting organized for this. Obviously, they're a community that can get immensely organized. And the Japanese community, we had a relationship with Takuma, Japan in the past, and I recognize from those days that we have a significant Japanese community that's very quiet and unassuming in this area, but is real. And so I think there are opportunities to bring this to bear. And the seed money is not that great to try. I'm done.
Wonderful. We'll open it up for questions. Any questions from LTAC members?
So I'm a little confused on your expenses. The food, beverage, supplies, 5,000, hotel accommodations, airfare, 5,000. So is part of your ask to cover those things?
Probably acts, people who fly in to provide entertainment.
Okay.
You know, we've already connected to the sister cities. As you know, we've already got $3,000 from the Kingdom of Norway for a reception this winter as an introductory activity. And so creating interest in heritage is something that we may be able to foster in multiple ways.
Okay, thank you.
I do have a question for you, Mark. This is Stephanie. Do you have, who all is partnering on this Heritage Day? Because I know that the Rotary Club, I think, applied for this last year. So I'm just kind of curious, and you're looking at multiple venues. Can you expand on that a little bit?
Well, the Rotary, multiple venues is one thing. Participants in organizing the event and volunteering for it are another. The Rotary Club last year was just the Gig Harbor North Rotary Club. Bob Anderson is the chief proponent of that. You've already met him. There's also Gig Harbor Midday Rotary, which donated to the museum, by the way, $25,000. And Gig Harbor Rotary, which is the bigger Rotary Club that meets on Friday. Also involved in the Sister Cities effort is Kiwanis, which is a potential participant in Heritage Day, as well as the Peninsula School District represented in that organization by Natalie Wimberly from the Peninsula School District, a school board member, and strangely, Lisa Christensen, who is the honorary consul to the state of Alaska for the Kingdom of Norway, who lives kind of behind where Stanish's used to, or Millville Pizza. And go figure. Also, so I'm involved. I'm a morning Rotarian. Bob Anderson is involved. He is a Gig Harbor North Rotarian. Dave Stave is involved. He's a midday Rotarian. Nick Markovich is involved as a Kiwanian. So we've got those kind of folks. The organization I'm representing, the Gig Harbor Arts Center Alliance, I'm representing the board, which is Ann Knapp, Charlie Glock Jackson, Mary Reardon, Jonathan Bill, and Christine Alskog Hall, namely visual arts, orchestral arts, drama, and ballet. And me, who decorates pumpkins.
We're at our time limit. Do we have any last comments? All right. Thank you, Mark, so much for your time, for your application, and we hope to hear more soon. All right, moving on. We have Metropolitan Glass. So we have Diane Hansen joining us. Diane is the brain force behind Tacoma's Monkey Shines, which is super, super popular. She'll be speaking to the Gig Harbor Crow Moon initiative. Hi, Diane.
There we go. Hello. I
Perfect.
had I'm terrible with the microphone off thing.
Not a problem. So we're going to try to keep to our 5-minute window here. We're going to do just a quick one-liner introduction of what your project is, and then I'll open it up to LTAC for questions.
Okay. So am I to talk about my project?
Absolutely.
Then? Okay, so what I've been involved in the Tacoma Monkey Shine project for 18 years now. And so what I'm proposing is kind of a little riff on that, but specifically to Gig Harbor, occurring in the month of March, the first 3 weeks to encourage tourism and traffic. I'm calling it the Gig Harbor Glow. What I propose is getting the harbor involved in hiding 600 different glass floats that would be stamped with a moon and a crow. The moon and the crow would be made of a glow-in-the-dark glass. The glass would be beautiful, colored. And then I'd like to also activate the community, if I could, to have like late night shop nights, maybe have as much of the community as could illuminate their buildings, whether that's just putting some bright lights in them or going all out. Maybe get a floating event like a paddle, or get the gondolas involved so that there's some activity in downtown in the dark winter days. And I would coincide this with the equinox and the full moon. So it could shift a little bit if it were an annual event, but in doing my research, I discovered the full moon in March is known as the Crow Moon. And it is because the earth starts warming up at the equinox between, the shift between winter and summer, and the crows start cawing. So I thought that would be a really cool image, because crows are pretty popular right now, and it offers a large expanded merchandising opportunity for different businesses. So it would be like a visual event with that treasure hunt kind of thing, and also activating the community. So people could just drive through, maybe inspire them to come back to Gig Harbor later if they don't find their float, perhaps offer the community opportunities to sell floats. I'm not quite sure. I'm happy to work with anybody, but basically that's my concept.
Do you have a location you put these floats out into the bay?
So not really. Usually they go in public areas. They get dispersed kind of secretively, and people stumble upon them. It would be through a social media campaign. We could advertise, you guys could advertise, we could do social media activation. They could go in the water. They could go in public parks, in the woods. It's just to really get people to explore so much. A lot of times tourists don't know all of the unique opportunities there are in city. So it's to get people out a little bit deeper into the city in a very safe and don't break the glass kind of way. But there's a lot of momentum for this type of an activity really throughout the West Coast at this time, but a lot of hunters in Tacoma specifically. Oh, you're the mayor. Okay.
Well, I do like, it's an unusual event and it's creative. So even though it's the first time, there's some creative juices happening. So I like that.
Cool. All right. I thought, oh, go ahead.
You may want to talk about the marketing arm also of Monkey Shines and how that may cross over and bring people in from that segment. I think that might be an interesting, there is a really active audience and a very passionate audience that
Right.
exists.
So, yeah, so about 18 years, I started working with some artists and we founded Monkey Shines, which is has got a humongous following now. I think we have 6,000 different followers, so we can launch on our website as well to draw people. When I do that, I usually grab Grit City Magazine, send out press releases to different local newscasters. Oh gosh, how else do we do that? Instagram. There's a long reach. So I have the capability to reach, a lot more than 5,000 people, but that's my immediate following with the Monkey Shine Project. And I find that what's unique about the Gig Harbor Glow is that although the balls are gorgeous in and of themselves, the stamps on the floats will have that glow in the dark element, which really fits in nicely with the whole branding of the project. And from the Monkey Shine Project, I know we have a lot of people that come in, they reserve hotels, they're shopping, they're really spending a lot of time in the city. And then beyond just that, what really happens is that people start really connecting to the community. There's a lot of community pride that happens from it. I heard KTAC was down all through Washington and Battleground. They were talking about Monkey Shines and Tacoma. So it's more than just a treasure hunt. It becomes like a civic bonding experience and giving a lot of individuals an opportunity to speak to strangers. You can kind of tell who's out hunting for glass, and it's a really good conversation starter. So I find there's a lot of really good that comes out of it besides just come and find something, which is of course the carrot to get people in.
Very cool. I think that's it. I think we're over our time.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Oh, pretty cool.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you, Diane.
Awesome. Thanks for the opportunity, everyone.
Thank you so much for your time and joining us today.
Okay, thanks. Bye-bye.
So Laura, before you bring on the next, and I'd like Tony and you to discuss this too, or think about this. We're going to run out of time as far as discussing this. And so as the chair, when we're done, and I propose we, not to rush our decision-making and have enough time for a discussion. I propose we probably make a meeting next week that we actually discuss it, because we also want the people, and why I also say next week, because some people have waited on the call and they want to hear what's happening. And we want to be, this is open to the public, and we want to make sure that they are given the time next week, enough notice so that they can make the meeting too and listen to our discussion. But we have some stiff meetings after this and deadlines. So, this way we can get through them, but we have a time next week that we can discuss this, and make it, take good thoughts with the applicants.
Okay. I'm going to try
the
to.
words right out of my mouth.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And thank you all for being patient with the change of venue. We did not anticipate having to change our Zoom over today.
Yeah.
So I appreciate you all on that.
So with that, for those that are staying on, we're not going to make any firm commitment today. We are going to schedule a meeting next week with the LTAC group, and we will post that in a good amount of time. And I think actually Laura will send out a personal invitation to each of you of what that date will be. We'll get that posted by tomorrow. When we find out at the end when this group can meet. And that meeting will be recorded too. So if you're not there, you'll be able to know it. But that way we can take your applications with the time needed.
Right.
In that vein, I'm going to keep us on track. We have four applications left. We also have, and I want to bring this to everyone's attention, we have one application that was titled the same thing, but was for something else. So there were two applications for cider swig. One was titled cider swig and was for cider swig. One was titled cider swig and was for summer sip. The one that was titled cider swig and for summer sip was excluded because I thought it was a duplicate and had the same title. I can share it via screen and Julie can speak to that, but for right now, we're going to just keep moving forward and review the two applications from the kayak and canoe racing team. So I'm going to add in Todd and Mike here.
Okay, and one last thing. If someone did not show up today for their application, it's not another chance for them to do it next week. You know, this was the opportunity we told everyone.
Right.
Okay, we have welcomed Coach Todd in. We've welcomed Mike in from the Gig Harbor Canoe and Kayak Racing Team. Hello to both of you. Thank you for joining us today. We're going to keep our 5-minute window. We have two events. So we have Paddler's Cup in April, and then we have the Narrows Challenge in October. We're going to do maybe like a 1-sentence overview. The committee has already reviewed your application, so they're familiar. We'll do a quick overview, and then we'll hop right into LTAX questions. So we'll start with Paddler's Cup.
Okay, yeah, I'm Mike Kitching, and I'm here to answer you any questions about Paddler's Cup. Essentially, it's our major fundraising event for the year. Obviously, during COVID, we did not have a Paddler's Cup, and we're hoping to reinvigorate it again this April and bring a lot of racing and people to Gig Harbor.
Wonderful. I'll open it up for questions.
I have a question about this.
Yes.
This is Stephanie. Is this something that people pay entry fees to participate in?
That is correct. Yes, paddlers will pay an entry fee to participate in the events.
Okay. And about how, I mean, I have a chart here, but I'm just confirming how many people typically participate in the Paddlers Cup. And is there a differentiation between those people that are actually paddling versus those people that come to watch?
There's definitely going to be people who are paddling and people who are coming to watch. You know, we usually have 100, 150 paddlers, and you know, obviously some are kids, so they'll bring a parent or two, or grandparents will come to watch. So, you know, it's hard to put a number on how many spectators there will actually be, but it runs in the hundreds. I pull up the application. I had the budget up. And quote the numbers that I put on the form. Obviously, those are estimates. They're good estimates based on historical attendance.
Okay, thank you.
The fee is specific to the paddlers, yes?
Yes, the fee is specific to the paddlers, not to onlookers.
Any questions on Paddler's Cup?
Just a quick question for me. The budget you propose is $17,045, and that's your ask. So is this a fundraising for the club?
It is. This is obviously, we would be fronting the money and then, of course, asking for reimbursement. It is a fundraiser for the club, and we are trying to offset our costs. Obviously, if we receive grant money, then that is more money for the club to use. We don't have to pay for the event through the proceeds of what we get.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
So how many years have you done this?
This has been an ongoing event for a good number of years. Unfortunately, it will be my first one, since my first one was supposed to be COVID, but we've been doing it for, I think, at least 8 or 10 years now.
Okay, thank you.
I can find out definitely for you if that's necessary, but it's been several years.
That's good enough.
I believe that's all we have for Paddler's Cup. Is there anything else? let's move on to the Narrows Challenge. Can you give us a one-liner on the Narrows Challenge, which I know this is the first year and we're coming up on it next week. So let's get a quick overview and we'll go to questions.
Yeah, so the Narrows Challenge is outside of the harbor race, open water paddlers. So surf skis, kayaks, canoes, some OC6s, some stand-up paddle boarders, rowing machines, and it's 2 races. There's a half course, which is to Point Evans and back. So that allows a lot of people that may not be able to go a full 12 miles or that just want to participate in a simpler thing. And then the more competitive is to Point Fosdick and back, which is 12 miles, virtually using the whole Narrows Passage for the race. Similar to Paddler's Cup, it's racers, family and members, registration fee. And we're looking forward to getting good response from the whole Northwest down to Oregon and such. And so we're looking forward to see what happens next Saturday. Any questions?
I do have a question, Todd. I'm Mary with the Downtown Waterfront Alliance. On the front page, it says you're asking for $16,025, but on your projected income, it shows $9,000 for the tourism grant. So it's just curious, which one is the accurate amount?
Yeah, Mike did the final on this. We were looking for 100%, but sorry.
Yeah, I'm here as well. I guess, what we probably did was the grant this year was, I believe, 8,500. And of course, we're talking about 2022 in this meeting. So I think that's what where that 9,000 figure came from, is we were using the number that the grant that we got this year. Obviously, we'd be looking to get more if that's possible, but that's where that number came from.
Yeah. So, so the amount that, this is what you're doing this in a week or so here. And we gave you part of this money, I think, last year. So the rest of the money you're using is from a grant.
Yeah, this year is the first on this, and it's been approved for 8,500, and we'll be submitting those receipts at the end of the month.
Right, and how much has that been costing this year, like in a week?
This year it was budgeted to it's going to take 9,000, 10,000 right now. We had extra options.
Okay.
So, yeah, we had more options with advertising and such that we weren't planning on originally, but through Laura and others, we've been more opportunities open up. So we really see there's a much broader audience we can reach. And this budget doesn't list those.
Thank you.
We're coming up to the end of our time. Is there anything else that we can ask, or any other final questions? All right. Thank you, gentlemen, so much. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Coach Todd.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate everything and your application. Up next, we have Charlie Glock Jackson and Katie Lane from Peninsula Art League. And we're going to try to get just through the end of these next two. After this, we have 2 applications left. We're going to try to get through that, and then we'll be done for the day. Katie, hi. Charlie, hi.
Hi.
Hello, hello.
Okay, so we're going to try to keep to our 5-minute window. We have 2 applications here. We have one for the Open Juried Art Show, and we have one for the Summer Arts Festival. Give us a quick overview. I know the committee has already reviewed applications, so they're familiar. One line description. We'll start with the Open Juried Art Show, and then we'll open it up for questions.
All right, so the Open Juried Art Show has been set up and will open on Friday. We typically do it every year. We have had over 100 people apply for it. We only, all of the art is juried in. We do get a lot of foot traffic out of it. It's been very successful for us.
there anything else?
No, I think we're familiar with the event. We know it's happened in years past. We know it's been a hard time over the last 2 years to hold it. And it hasn't occurred. LTAC, any specific questions on the Open Juried Art Show?
Can you describe what the use of the funds would be, or how the funds would be used?
Sure. We do have expenses that go along with the show. So we do need to pay open online juried shows, which is where all the artists submit their materials. We also have the expense associated with the museum this year, which we've never had before. We've been very fortunate, but there is a charge for the venue this year. So we do have an additional expense we didn't expect. And then we also bring in a juror who not only is the juror for the show, but he or she also conducts a workshop. And typically we do have people come from out of town who participate in that workshop.
Yeah.
What is your expense for the location?
For the location, it's $2,500.
Which was, if I may, which was a big hit for us this year, because as Ketty said, we have not had to pay anywhere near that for the museum in the past. Understanding that times are very difficult and challenging for the museum as well. But because we anticipate that the rent will be similar next year, we're really in need of some additional support for this. And if I may add, this year, thank you all very much for giving the Open Juried Show a grant this year, which is supporting the show that, as Ketty says, is opening this Friday to the public. One of the things that the grant has allowed us to do, in addition to pay the rental cost, we've been able to actually advertise the show this year. Our ads will begin next week. Because the museum is only open Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, we're waiting to start our actual advertising until actually after the opening, and our ads will start on public radio, 2 public radio stations starting next Wednesday. And they will run on and off for the duration of the show, which continues through November 27th. So this year's grant funds are being very well used and are critical to the success of the show. We do know that there are significant artists who come for the reception and come for the workshop and do stay overnight in our hotels and at least eat at our restaurants. We also know that out-of-town guests come and do the same thing. It's a show that draws artists from throughout the United States. And so people are, it's making a name for itself and making a name for Gig Harbor as an arts center. And so that's why we are so grateful for your support.
Perfect. Do we want to move on to the Summer Arts Festival?
All right,
let's do that. If we have a one line, we can go from there and open for questions.
All right, so the Summer Art Festival has actually been a big deal for Gig Harbor for a long time. We have been unable to hold it for the last 2 years, but it is also for Peninsula Art League. This is our big money maker. This is how we support our artists. We also provide scholarships for students in the Peninsula School District, as well as Gig Harbor High. So, and we certainly hope to have a summer art festival next year.
Well, I do know that even though because I participated in this way back, and even though some people have their RVs being associated with this, a lot of people stay in hotels
Yes.
that
that is-
actually have booths too. Not to mention people that come from outlying areas.
And I would add to kind of a PS to what the mayor has said. We have had artists in the past who, as he mentioned, have come in their RVs and they've tried to park at the RV park. And apparently the RV park has, one might say, sort of snobbish rules and won't allow RVs that are of a certain age. So those artists have been denied access to the RV park and have had to find elsewhere to park, which isn't a real friendly way to welcome people to our city.
I do know there is new ownership there and that those rules may change slightly. That may be something you'd like to look in on.
Excellent.
So I'm happy to provide you with the contact information and we can figure that out.
Okay, we typically have over 100 artists who participate in the festival as well, so.
Do we have any remaining questions?
And I will say that even though this is a well-established event for Gig Harbor for, gosh, 30 or so years, the fact that we have not been able to have the festival for the last 2 years, we're feeling a little nervous that we need to remind people that this is a wonderful event and that hopefully next year the art festival will be back and that they can start planning their vacations, their summertime vacations to come to Gig Harbor again. And again, the money that we have, the grant money that we're asking for will be used primarily for marketing to spread the word that this is back and up and running and Gig Harbor is a wonderful place to be. And we'll hopefully be putting heads in beds.
Right, and even though we're putting heads in beds, when people go to this event downtown, they don't just get back in their car. They go to restaurants, they travel throughout downtown, and it benefits others too, so.
Right, and I would venture to say, and I'm biased on this, admittedly, but I would venture to say that arts and cultural events are as big, if not more, of a tourism draw than many sporting events are. There is tremendous research that's been done on the economic benefit of cultural tourism, as it's called, and Peninsula Art League has long been a part of that and hopes to continue.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. We appreciate your time in the application, Charlie and Gertie, and we appreciate your time this morning sharing and answering questions with us.
Thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you. All right, up next we have the Downtown Waterfront Alliance Farmers Market. Heidi Gerling will be presenting on their behalf. Hi, Heidi.
Hi, Laura. How are you?
Good to see you. We're gonna try to keep to 5 minutes.
Okay.
And I know everyone's very, very familiar with the farmers market. Luckily, you guys have been in operation through the past 2 years, and we've seen it's continually a draw. We're gonna do just a one-liner description and of the ask, and then go forward to questions and answers.
Okay, a one-liner, so just who we are. We're the Waterfront Farmers Market, and we've been in operation since 2015, so we're an established market. And we operate on Thursdays in Scansey Brothers Park, downtown Gig Harbor, from 1 to 7 p.m., 1 p.m. to 7 p.m., June through mid-September.
Any questions that we have from LTAC?
I just have to say, I've watched your procedure with COVID and, walkie-talkies in the front and the back to get people in, one ways. You figured out how to run an event that's not easy to run. So kudos to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Anything else that I can answer?
We're all very familiar. Oh, wonderful. I think that's it. Yeah. Shall we move to the film festival and have that be our last of the day?
I have one question on the last. So this one other, the Gig Harbor Arts Center Alliance. Did we do that one?
The Gig Harbor Arts Center Alliance?
That was me.
Yeah.
That was Mark, yes.
Okay, that was yours, but there was a big
APCC. We had Lua from the Korean Chuseok Festival.
Okay.
She was on and then wasn't, and then I've emailed to see if she's can join us again.
Okay.
Haven't heard back yet though.
Okay, all right, sorry, thank you.
So we have the film festival next. I'm going to admit Pamela.
And am I okay to sign out?
You are. Thank you so much.
Thank you
Heidi.
guys so
Thank
much
you
for having
the
me.
grueling questions.
Yes, take care.
All right, we have Pamela joining us. Pamela, first of all, welcome. Oh, I think, yes, you can hear us.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
You can.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us this morning. Thank you for the application and welcome, of course, to the film festival. We're excited to have you on board with that organization. We're going to keep this to about 5 minutes max. You're our last applicant.
I know you have a long list.
We did. Yeah, so we're just going to go through very, very quickly, do a one-liner overview of what the ask is for this year, and then open it up to questions from LTAC.
Sounds good.
If you want to, go ahead.
Okay. I know that you've had a chance to review our application, and so I wanted to thank you for the time for doing that. My name is Pam Holt, and I'm going to be the new executive director for the Gig Harbor Film Festival. So I'm very excited about that opportunity, and I appreciate having the chance to build on everything that Jenny has created in the last 4 years. So when I was developing our grant application, I relied a lot on some of our previous data. As you're aware, we unfortunately had to postpone for the last couple of years. We do have everything set up pretty much for 2022, and we're happy that almost all of our filmmakers will be returning. So we'll have a couple slots for some new exciting films. We hope to continue to partner with the same lodging partners that we had set up before. So we were working with the Wesley Inn, the Inn at Gig Harbor, and also the Maritime Inn. And then we had some of our guests that also made reservations at Airbnb and that type of thing. So we do expect a lot of visitors. We have filmmakers that come from all over the world. And we have visitors that come to the 4-day festival from all over the region and even in the United States. So we believe that the grant will really help us reach out to those visitors in certain regions, Spokane, Bellingham, the Portland, Vancouver area. And we will be able to invite them to Gig Harbor, stay at the preferred lodging partners that I had mentioned earlier, and dine and enjoy all that Gig Harbor has to offer. And I'm happy to take any questions.
Hi, Pamela. This is Stephanie. I have a question for you.
Sure.
Do you have any venue expenses? You guys do a great job with the festival, and it's nice to see it coming back. Just curious about additional expenses that you may have.
Well, I don't anticipate any additional expenses other than we want to invest in advertising. We were fortunate that almost all of our VIP ticket holders stayed with us. And so we will be rolling them over to the next year. So I really don't anticipate that we're going to have unusual expenses other than we would like to reach out beyond the 50-mile radius and invite more visitors to the film festival.
Great, thank you.
You bet.
If there aren't any other questions for the film festival, I think that brings us to the end. I did want to screen share for just one moment. Julie's still with us from the Gig Harbor Film Festival. I'm going to readmit her.
Okay, one question. I do want to apologize to Mark. When I had mentioned to Mark Hoppin about the hotel and the food expenses, I was looking at the APCC application, which was $5,000 for beverages and $5,000 for flights. And so I was looking at the wrong application. So now I'm looking at Mark's, and so I apologize for that misinformation. So just so
I
you know,
couldn't figure out what it is you.
I know. So that's I was right. Everything else. So sorry about that, Mark.
It's okay.
I wanted to know why the $10,000 for food and airfare, and it's not.
I was wondering what I wrote down that I didn't remember writing.
Yeah, no. So I apologize for that. Just to clear things up.
Wonderful. I'm going to screen share for just a moment for the cider swig application. It was titled cider swig. I thought it was the same application. This is the summer sip. So mistitled, but for a different event. I will send it out to LTAC for consideration. I will add it to the list. They were asking for $5,000 for the summer swig. And that includes the July date that Julie Gustancy was mentioning earlier. I'm not sure if she's with us here. I've admitted her again to the meeting.
I'm here quickly. Yeah, unfortunately I have to meet with attorneys and staff in just a couple of minutes.
So I will ask a quick question, and I think you really kind of went through this earlier as well, but you split the cider swig into two events. One remains in the fall, and this would be the summer swig, summer sip in July, correct?
Yes, this is the one that I was talking about on July 9th. This one would be wholly focused and this is in the Uptown area where it will be held. And yeah, basically it's what we're doing instead of just limiting this one to cider. It will be basically inviting as many of the local, and we're saying local is 253, and obviously we have some in the 360 region, but as local as possible, producers, makers of a variety of libations, including coffee, to come and share their wares at the summer sips. And we are going to be partnering with local restaurants to be the food purveyors rather than bringing in competing food trucks. So this is the way that we have been working with Paula and others at Uptown to try and basically evolve this thing that started as a drive-through to try and make up the difference in funds that we were able to raise through the cider swig. So as I said, it's kind of like, you know, it was like a blessing in disguise that we had to pivot and find new ways to do things. But out of it, at least for the foundation or parts of the foundation, we've discovered all sorts of opportunities and new ways of doing things. I guess that's all really, but that's what we are working on, and we're planning to roll it out formally on, I believe it's January 11th or 19th, something like that, 2022. But we're already working with the various makers of sorts.
Wonderful. Do our members have any questions on summer sips? I'm sorry. Yes, let's go ahead. I will send that application out to you so you have that in addition to the packet that you already have. I believe that covers all of our applicants and all of our events.
Okay, thank you very much. And I apologize for the confusion. We were working on the last minute edits to the various applications the morning right after cider swig. So it was tense.
You were slug.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Laura. Bye-bye.
You and everybody, I will send out a meeting invite for next week.
So
We can
just
go over these.
Real quick,
ahead,
just
Mayor.
since everyone knows their calendar, maybe to save Laura, we 4 o'clock or 4 o'clock on Wednesday or 3 o'clock on 2 o'clock on Thursday. I'm just throwing out some dates, 2 o'clock on Monday, maybe to give Laura a little bit easier time than just. So 3 or 4 on Wednesday, 2 to 3 or 4 on Thursday, 2 on Monday. Anyone
I'm
have a
going to be
preference?
out of town, so I won't be able to attend next week.
Can you Zoom it?
If I can Zoom it from the golf course, maybe.
Okay.
Janae, do you have your thoughts and can put them forward? Maybe that might be helpful as well.
Absolutely.
Please
Since
do
we've
so.
gone through all of these. And
I
then
wouldn't be available Monday, Laura.
You're not available Monday? Okay.
And I'm not
fine with
available
Tuesday.
Thursday. I can't do Thursday. but I
Actually,
How about
I'm not
Wednesday
available
at 3?
Thursday. So Wednesday or Tuesday looks like the two dates.
Okay,
We'll
try
Yeah,
for
2.
Wednesday at 3.
Yeah.
And Janae, I'd love it if you could send Laura your comments so that we can include that.
Absolutely. And if I can, I'll try to be on that.
Okay, all right.
Everyone, thank you so much. I know this is a difficult one because we have such a high volume. Good problems to have,
Okay.
I guess. Thank you.
Thank you. Meeting's adjourned.
Bye.